I'd like to begin by emphasizing that Russia considers itself at war with the United States and European nations, specifically the UK, since the US and UK have launched their missiles into the territory of Russia.
It is not Russia, but the United States who have destroyed the system of international security. And they are trying to preserve their hegemony and stoking a global conflict. We have always preferred, and we still prefer, to resolve our disagreements using peaceful means, but we are prepared for any scenario. And if anyone has any doubts, they shouldn't. There will always be a response.
We are right now on the escalation ladder, inching towards a nuclear war. The Russians and the United States are de facto right now in a war.
Well, I have at least two sources right now telling me that Russian nuclear rocket forces are on full alert. They are at the highest level of readiness they have ever achieved.
Putin just put us on notice that he has a conventional missile system that is designed to preempt anything and everything NATO plans on doing to Russia, and there is no NATO response. This is literally the equivalent of the most alpha wolf in the world coming in and pissing all over your home. That's what Putin just did, and it didn't have to be this way. I don't think the West has woken up to what has just happened. It is over for the West. Putin has literally given the West two options: capitulate or nuclear war. We have to find a way to find a third option.
So if you live in a city, that would be what you would be looking at. The scientific studies predict that 150 to 180 million tons of smoke and soot would rise into the stratosphere, and in a matter of 10 days to 2 weeks, the high winds in the stratosphere would spread it around the world. It would cause a global stratospheric smoke layer to form. And this smoke would block about 70% of the sunlight in the northern hemisphere and 35% in the southern.
And I'm telling you authoritatively and truly, they lie about every goddamn thing about these wars. And how many times did the New York Times report on Operation Timber Sycamore, which was the presidential order to the CIA to overthrow Bashar al-Assad? 3 times in 10 years. This is not democracy. This is a game. And it's a game of narrative. Why did the U.S. invade Iraq in 2003? It was a phony war. Where did that war come from? You know what? It's quite surprising. That war came from Netanyahu, actually. You know that? It's weird. They did focus groups on the war. They wanted the war all the time. They had to figure out how to sell the war to the American people. They don't care at all about democracy, by the way, at all. They topple governments they don't like, that won't do their bidding. Everybody understand, what does it mean to stand with Ukraine? It means 2,000 Ukrainians killed or wounded severely every single day. That's not standing with Ukraine. That is standing with the destruction of Ukraine. God forbid a nuclear power comes at us. I don't know what's going to happen. But we came at them. We have to understand the most basic points. Stay out of each other's lane so that we don't end up all dead. It's not so hard.
They can't afford a defeat, a Ukrainian defeat before the election. That's what they're worried about. And so they're trying to prevent that.
Something like this only because you have the French and the British also wanting to escalate in order to drag the United States in and lock in the United States to continue to have to provide assistance.
Attacks against the Bryansk region where these missiles were used. It's a signal saying that they want an escalation.
What I can tell you is that, again, we're going to continue to support Ukraine with what it needs to be successful on the battlefield.
So if we have nuclear weapon, if you prefer materialism and technologies then rather than spiritual matter, so you will pay for that by extinction of your mechanical civilizations. For Ukraine, it is our Kurukshetra, and Putin is Arjuna. He's heroic actor in our history and maybe in the world history, but he will fight until the end.
When the prophet said that you'll make an alliance with Rome, of course, this is Akhiru Zaman. That you're going to make an alliance with Rome in Akhiru Zaman. And so we're now seeing the fulfillment of that prophecy. Which Christian people is Allah talking about? You can't study international relations and study the history of international politics without coming to face with its arrogance. The colonization of the rest of the world, so that they can civilize the rest of the world. This is not Orthodox Christianity, not at all. I hope the Darul Uloom is listening. The more they close the doors of the Darul Uloom and the masjid to me, the more knowledge Allah gives to me. So keep on closing the doors. Keep on closing the doors.